locations via the miracle of Skype. It's the LTN Hour. Let's talk NASCAR with your host, Todd Bailing. Co-hosts Brian Schmidt, PJ Noodleman, and producer Dangerous Dan Margetta. Call the show anytime at 414-421-7901. And now, the creator and host of the fastest hour in radio, Todd Bailing.
Yes, we're ready for the first race of the year at Daytona. Big fun for everybody. It will be televised today on Fox, Channel 6 Milwaukee, Channel 47 in Madison. Greetings from sunny, beautiful Phoenix, Arizona. My partners are spread out all over the place. First, fortunately, we have a couple of folks in Wisconsin that are there for the sole purpose of shoveling and plowing snow, starting with our own snowplow driver, Brian Schmidt, over in Utzberg, Wisconsin. Hi, Brian.
Oh yeah, this is miserable sitting at home here when usually I'm in Daytona with Dan, but the schedule didn't work out. So just as an extra reward, I got 41 hours of overtime plowing snow this week. So it really stuck it to me. But
just wait till Elon.
I am home today, and I'm going to watch the race, and no pushing of snow today.
All right. PJ, on the other side of the state, on the Mississippi River, and you had to deal with a semi-unhappy husband getting home from Florida this week, huh?
Yeah, he was not happy whenever you got to bring home a wrecked race car, especially when you get wrecked while eating. But there is that. Anyway, yeah, 12 degrees over here in Trempealeau, Wisconsin. Pretty windy, but we got sunshine. But it's nothing compared to what the dangerous Dan Margetta is enjoying down in Daytona.
Yeah, and that's where he is. Welcome, Dan. Having fun?
Oh, having a lot of fun. I got out of that snow on Wednesday. I've been down here hanging on the beach, going to races, and I'm at the track now for the 500. I can't get any better than that. It's warm. It's sunny for now. It's pretty windy, though. We have like 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts later on, and they're saying some rain may come in here at about 3 or 4 o'clock and maybe delay this race in the middle of it for some part. But it's nothing that's going to wash it out all day like last year. We should get the whole thing in.
Well, that's good news. They did adjust the start time for the race according to the forecast, which it was supposed to start at 2 o'clock Central Time. It is now starting at 1 o'clock Central Time, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But there is a 45% chance of precipitation. Now, all that aside, this is pretty exciting because all the years I went to Daytona, for many of those years, I had myself a roommate. And funny how as time goes on, the location of the room is what really changes sometimes. My roommate for many of those events down there was Dave Kallman of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. And coincidentally, Dave is my roommate for this weekend's Daytona race, except, of course, we're in Phoenix, not Daytona. Dave joins me here in studio. That means he stayed here last night. Hi, Dave.
Good morning. Good morning. There's almost no one I'd rather spend Valentine's Day with. Almost no one.
Yeah.
No, but it's great. It's been a long time since I've been out here. It's been a long time. I think we've seen more of each other already this year than we did all of last year, despite the fact that we live pretty close to each other. And it's been a long time since I've been joined LTN, so I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Now, this is actually newsworthy, folks, because last night in Daytona, Dave was awarded, although he wasn't there, what do we call it, absentia? He was awarded the American Motorsports Media Award of Excellence. Not very many folks get that award. You didn't get a chance to stand up and give your thank you speech, so I thought we'd provide you a platform.
No, I can't remember my speech because I wrote it at 7 a.m. on my phone yesterday and passed it along to others in the group. And I believe my speech was read by the illustrious Dr. Dick Berggren. So that was very cool. Nice. I've had a lot of longtime colleagues, peers who have reached out and with congratulations. And I guess you're wondering what the heck it is. It's kind of a lifetime achievement award. There's certainly some some great names on it. You know, the David Pools of this world, Mike Harris from AP, longtime AP, of my sort of people in my same demographic. You know, Bob Pockris. Anytime you're on a list with people like that, you got to feel pretty good about yourself. So very neat. Glad to hear about it.
Now,
congratulations, Dave.
Thank you.
It's very cool. Although you're not really here in a motorsports capacity for those folks who are lucky enough to subscribe to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to be hearing from people in Daytona Beach where your acceptance speech is being read for an award on motorsports while you're tweeting Christian Yelich video from spring training. So kind of a strange day yesterday, but I'm out here for a couple of days to take in spring training. It's something I'd never done, and didn't really time it to avoid the Daytona 500 or to spend the Daytona 500 weekend with Todd. But it's something completely different, and so yeah, I'm at that point in life where I can get lifetime achievement awards while I'm still alive, and also try some different things. So
that's pretty cool. Spring training is nice out here. For one, it's just different than Florida because, for one, the sun is shining here. And I guess Dan has let us know that we may or may not get this race in its entirety. Starting at an hour early, Dan, are they going to get 101 laps in? And that's what the whole goal was?
They might. I mean, it's the hour early start. I mean, we'll have about an hour of green flag racing before the rain is supposed to get here. And it's not a definite thing. I mean, it could miss us. It's Florida, so it's kind of hit and miss. I think if it does come through here, it's not going to wash the whole day out. If it might have to, let the track down, they'll dry it and finish it later. It just may interrupt it. I'm not sure it's going to wipe it out. It's a lot better forecast this year than it had last year, that's for sure. I think they get the whole race in. Starting it early, just make sure you can at least get some of it in, because remember the last time they started this late in 2020, they messed around for about an hour before they started the race, and the rain came, and everybody was kind of mad. So at least they're making an effort to get some racing in before it does get here.
That's all good stuff. At least they are being cognizant of years past, and that's a wonderful thing. They did run some races this week. On Thursday, we had our twin qualifiers. Bubba Wallace won one of them, and you're going to have a hard time telling me that Eric Jones didn't win the other one, even though Austin Cindric was awarded the thing. That guy on the yellow flag had a hair trigger. My God, was it really important for him to hit that trigger that quickly? Eric Jones should have been the winner of that race and was not. But it's kind of a quick decision. What blew me away more than the silly hair trigger was the fact that Kevin Harvick, who is usually good for calling things as they are, said, "Oh, that was a really good thing to happen because you don't want to have guys running into each other coming to the checkered flag." Are you kidding me?
Isn't that the guy?
Go ahead, Dan.
Isn't Kevin benefited from no yellow flag in 2007? Didn't he win his Daytona 500 when Mark Martin was leading when the yellow flag should have been thrown but wasn't? They let him go to the line?
Yep.
Oh.
He mentioned that. He said, "Well, we used to race back to the line and all that kind of stuff, and we can't have that." That's a different comparison here because you're about 200 feet from the flag. What are you gaining by throwing that caution other than mass confusion? Yeah. The guys up behind can see the smoke. They should be lifting. You're not going to go wide open through that. And the guys in front, the crash is behind them. It's one thing if you have a wreck in turn 4 or a wreck in turn 1, you got to throw the caution so that the guys don't drive into it when it's over. Sure. And we've said for years now that they don't need to be pulling the trigger that quick when the wreck is out of the way and not a part of the actual action at the end. And that's what happened there. Can you imagine if that was a Daytona 500? Can you imagine if that was Eric Jones crossing the line first for the Daytona 500, getting out of the car to the cheer of the crowd, thinking he won the biggest race there is, and then, oh, yeah, no, that's not what happened. You can't have that.
They're going to have to work on that and tell that hair trigger dude, you got to take it easy. We're very glad that you tuned in for our Daytona 500 special today. Dave Paulman will be with us for the entirety of the program. Dan will be somewhere in the No, he's not in the infield. He's on the other side of the track this weekend. We'll be back after these.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit bonafidesafe.com.
PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need with fresh mulch arriving daily. From premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to EnviroMulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800 or visit PMFlandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years. PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
Miller Sales and Service of Random Lake is where to go for a trailer no matter what you're hauling. Tom and Jerry Miller have been selling trailers from B&B, Trophy, and Bravo for over 50 years. Quality and integrity is what put them on the map on the corner of 57 and K since 1939. Home of the number 89 dirt and asphalt cars of Brad Miller. That's Miller Sales and Service. It's where to go for a trailer just 20 minutes north of Milwaukee. Call them 920-994-4358.
Recently, we lost Bob Euchre, but Bob's legacy lives on. Bob Euchre's impact on Milwaukee and Wisconsin exceeds anything that happened on a baseball diamond or in a broadcast booth. One such thing is the Bob Euchre Endowed Chair in Pancreatic Cancer Research at the Medical College of Wisconsin. This chair was established by Bob and is supported by many others in our community with the goal of fighting the devastating disease of pancreatic cancer. To all involved, thank you. This message of gratitude is presented by the Medical College of Wisconsin and WISN Radio.
Welcome back to the Daytona edition of LTN. With apologies, they're having problems on the 920 right now, and we're not on the air. So if you're listening to this on our YouTube channel or on Facebook or on our webpage, thank you so much for tuning in. It's a really special day for Daytona as we get the season kicked off. I know how this works. But I can tell you that the big news this week had nothing at all to do with the Daytona 500. NASCAR, I think I said this from the get-go. It's their game. How can you possibly take them to court when they are the one that make the rules? Just because you don't like the rules, that doesn't mean it's worthwhile to take them to court. So NASCAR said, hey, by the way, if you guys win this lawsuit, we're going to take the charter system away. And, oh, by the way, thank you for spending millions upon millions for those charters, but they're going to be totally worthless now. I suppose we're going to get to the point where they're actually going to post the purse on a weekly basis again. Wouldn't that be something? By the way, they did post the purse for the Cup race today, $30.3 million. So nice purse compared to years past, and back to when it paid $200,000 to win. You know, what a wonderful thing. What's our thought on this, guys? Mark, Dan, you're the one that's been kind of watching this whole thing. You're not going to beat NASCAR no matter how many lawyers you get. Am I right?
I mean, that's what it seems. I mean, that was the big news that came out when they said, well, okay, well, it was implied that if they don't win this lawsuit that they would just do away with the charters. I think that's going to open up. Every other team's going to say, hey, we signed this deal. How can you just renege on it? That's a whole bunch of more lawsuits. That would make it even crazier. But yeah, I mean, this whole thing isn't good for the whole deal. They somehow need to get on the same page overall and get everything together. I don't know how you do that at this stage now. That came out this week because NASCAR filed its appeal to the latest injunction that says the 2311 and the front row cars have to be traded as chartered cars, even though technically they don't have charters this year because they didn't sign the agreement. NASCAR filed an appeal to that and said, why should we be forced to consider them as business partners when they're not doing everything to better the brand in NASCAR? They're kind of going against us. They're our adversaries in a lawsuit. So that's kind of where it's at now. They're going to appeal that back, and it's going to probably go back and forth. But yeah, I mean, overall, it is their game. And I mean, what if they took their ball and went home?
And that's exactly what they're talking about. This could all go away as soon as the two teams come out and say, we've decided to drop the lawsuit and get on board. And, oh, by the way, at least we had the guts to go and stand up to NASCAR, even though it didn't get us a damn thing, because that's really where this is headed, it seems like to me. So,
yeah. And you think about it, too. There also was a little bit of reports that said they're actually entertaining the possibility of selling part of NASCAR. You know, the France family's owned it forever, and now there's some talk that they're not opposed to totally maybe selling a percentage to somebody, kind of like Liberty Media came in and bought F1. You know, if that's on the table, too, they could always go that route and say, all right, we're done with this. Somebody else come in and buy it.
Dave Kallman was talking to me about this earlier today. Dave, now we have these equity firms that are buying into NASCAR. That has to make it very, very confusing.
Yeah, I think that would make the whole charter lawsuit stuff look like child's play, honestly. I can't remember the last time a private equity investment helped the sport, the passionate folks, the end user, so to speak. The only purpose is to make money. That's it. There's no other function at that point. And so how does that help anyone other than the people who are cashing in?
But they make money by entertaining folks and having them tune in.
Yeah, right up until it's makes the business sense, or the numbers change and it doesn't make sense anymore. Then you just you sell it for scrap.
Oh man, you're not painting a very nice picture of our sport here recently. And
no, it's not the sport. I don't think that I'm painting the poor picture of it. It's private equity investment that frightens the heck out of me. You got to remember what business I'm in too. This sort of stuff has happened as newspapers have been gutted and whatnot, and to a degree, I understand business is business, but my God, if you're passionate about the sport, or if you're passionate about someone like me, if we're passionate about our business or about our industry, then yeah, that tends to not be real good for us.
We're in a sticky place right now, folks. You're going to have to keep an eye on the scorecard to see what the lawyers, the judges, and all, this isn't what we want. We want to see who's going fast and who's passing cars and winning races. This is not fair to the fans that we're looking at this. And yet, what we want to do is make sure it's the sustainability part that we're worried about. Is this going to be able to take this sport into the future? And good God, I certainly hope somebody knows what they're doing here and doesn't mess the whole thing up.
Well, the one thing we got to remember here is that if we're starting to take legal advice from the firm of, Bailing, Losi, Kallman, and Margetta, we're probably you probably ought to look elsewhere for your advice. But yeah, this stuff is really complex. I mean, and someone does have to think about the whole picture, which means there's compromises all throughout, and this stuff is just, it's challenging to try to make everybody happy, to make the teams money, to make the fans, give the fans a product that they want, or in some cases tolerate anyway. So there's a lot of balls in the air.
A lot of balls in the air, and we have a full grandstand today, right, Dan? I believe they said it was a sellout a while back, wasn't it?
Yeah, this race has been sold out probably since mid-January, so it's a packed house. If everybody that got their ticket shows up, there should be no room.
All right. Well, we'll see about that. Some folks stay home because of the forecast. Chase Briscoe was your pole sitter, and Austin Cindric. That is your front row no matter what happens. And by the way, I was able to go over to the local casino and make a couple of bets before qualifying. Before the Twins. And I got Chase Briscoe at 30-1. I got Bubba Wallace at 25-1. And I got Eric Jones at 50-1. Now, that would make me very happy if Eric Jones could pull this thing off. I also took Chastain at only 25. We're very happy you tuned in. We only wish we were on the radio, but we'll find out if that gets rectified when we come back.
Miller Sales and Service of Random Lake is where to go for a trailer, no matter what you're hauling. Tom and Jerry Miller have been selling trailers from B&B, Trophy, and Bravo for over 50 years. Quality and integrity is what put them on the map on the corner of 57 and K since 1939. Home of the number 89 dirt and asphalt cars of Brad Miller. That's Miller Sales and Service. It's where to go for a trailer, just 20 minutes north of Milwaukee. Call them 920-994-4358.
From racing engines to street engines, long blocks to turnkey packages, or complete custom engines, just ask and Wagner Automotive can fill your needs. All backed by many years of racing experience. These years of experience have provided reliability and performance that customers need to win races. Wagner's has been building championship-winning engines for top teams from NASCAR to short tracks in your backyard. This expertise has carried over to street engines they supply to top custom car builders. The Wagner Company, in the heart of Wisconsin, is outfitted with the state-of-the-art machinery necessary to design, manufacture, build, and test custom engines and their accessory parts. Dyno services are independently available for anyone needed to test their engine. Wagner's Company can also provide you or your company with production CNC machining or welding services. All your questions and requests are handled personally by Casey Wagner. Just give us a call at 920-394-3557 or visit our website at WagnerAutomotive.com.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit BonafideSafe.com.
The new episode of the Larrivee and LePay podcast is available to listen to right now. Wayne and Matt's guest is Rick Goslin, longtime writer covering the NFL. Remember, every episode of the Larrivee and LePay podcast is available anytime on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Presented by UW Credit Union. Here for every you.
Welcome back to LTN, the Daytona edition of LTN. Kind of odd timing as far as I'm concerned. Pitbull, who NASCAR and was very happy when he announced that he was going to be part of the Trackhouse racing team, you know, to bring in another entertainer with a I guess he's got a following. I don't really know anybody that follows, but okay. So we have this guy Pitbull. What does he do anyway? He's a rapper or something.
It would be music.
Yeah, music. All right. Well, it seems like it was very odd timing that this weekend he announced on social media that he is ending his partnership with Trackhouse Racing effective immediately. Now, you have to ask yourself, what kind of pissing contest did they just have that he quits on the spot? And he's going to entertain the crowd today, too. Former Cup owner Pitbull will now entertain the crowd. Dan, you had a good theory there.
Well, there's a lot of, people are speculating a lot of what happened there because it's kind of odd that you'd announce something effective immediately right before the biggest race of the year, the season starts, and you're going to perform there the next day, for the pre-race concert. There was rumors towards the end of last year that he was looking to get out of that deal, and they all said, it wasn't true, that wasn't going to happen. So maybe there was some smoke to that fire there. A lot of people are looking at Trackhouse's situation, and they got a deal where they're going to have more drivers, they're going to have cars because right now, last year, Zane Smith kind of got the odd man out on that deal when Van Gisbergen came in. Well, now you got Connor Zillage, who's kind of waiting in the wings, and he's coming up fast. He's going to have some Cup starts already this year. And if you don't put him in a Cup car, you're going to lose him to somewhere else. And right now, he's got the potential to be, a superstar. So if that should happen, they're not going to have to find a place to put him. And Suarez is a guy who only had a 1-year extension, so he's kind of on the hot seat a little bit. If he don't, perform, he may be out. And if you remember when Pitbull came in, he was tied pretty heavily with Daniel Suarez. That was kind of when they put that deal together. So there's maybe that. Maybe, they're not happy that if Pitbull or Suarez is out, maybe he's not happy that way. Other people saying he's just cashing out. He was an investment deal. He's been here for 4 or 5 years. He's going to take his money and run and do something else now.
Yeah, not when it's effective immediately the week of the Daytona 500. You get the feeling that there's something else. So basically, the whole thing is Connor Zilich's fault for being a guy that is so can't-miss prospect that it's pretty obvious they're going to have to get rid of Daniel Suarez, who, he's not a bad racer. He'll probably be around somewhere. How good will he be? How competitive? Will he win one race a year?
Is that it? Well,
he's very underachieving, though, if you think about it. I mean, he's not a guy that's going to get you multiple wins a year. He's popular with the fans and stuff like that, but he's not a guy that's going to constantly win races for you when you have Connor Zilich sitting there that anytime he's hopped in a car, he's found a way to win. I mean, heck, I think he won in his Xfinity debut last year, for crying out loud. So I could see where that could be a hang-up.
Yeah, I agree with that, Brian. I mean, it's just the way the sport works. I mean, it's here and now, and Suarez has been around a while, and he's done okay, but maybe not good enough to prevent somebody else coming and taking his spot. I think Alex Bowman's kind of in the same situation with Corey Day coming up on the Hendrick side in a little bit. So it's just kind of the way it is now, and kind of sucks, but that's the way it is.
I don't think we should complain about it, though, because for so many years we've been saying money buys people rides, and now we're talking about talent again, and I think that's a good thing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's where you have a difficult situation, probably for Justin Marks' sake, is trying to explain to an investor in his business like Pitbull about what this is supposed to be all about. And I could see that probably being a very difficult conversation to have because, Pitbull wasn't around the sport a lot before this. He can say he's a fan and not, but if you have a personal tie to someone and that person isn't producing like others can, that's where you get into situations like this.
And don't forget that Zilich has a sponsor. It's not Pitbull, it's a Red Bull, right?
Exactly.
I mean, they're out there, and they may come in and do some investment there as well. Who knows what's out there, what's in the works coming forward.
So you're saying it's all bull.
Does anyone remember who the other partner in Trackhouse was? No? Ty Norris. Ty Norris left late last year, I believe. So suddenly Trackhouse has a whole different look. Within the last 6 months, Trackhouse is looking a whole lot different than it did, from its start.
And really, at the end of the day, they have to survive, and they have to put the best drivers they possibly can in the car. And Connor Zilich has more talent than, unfortunately, Daniel Suarez does. And so that's where we're headed, folks. But the question, I suppose, of the day is that what caused Pitbull to just pick up his tent and move it to another circus? It seems like that's what it is, but either way. Brian, last week, I think it was, when you mentioned that NASCAR is going to have to adjust the schedule because of the Super Bowl possibly taking over this weekend, the holiday weekend. I don't know if you saw anything from that press conference, but Ben Kennedy, who's the guy from NASCAR, blood relation, who makes these kind of decisions, talked to a handful of reporters this week and said, we are watching the Super Bowl schedule and we haven't made any hard decisions yet. He mentioned in this little impromptu presser that they're thinking of the weekend before the Super Bowl. As you know, that's an open weekend for the NFL as they build up, all this drama for the big game. Would that be a perfect place for it? Maybe.
It's interesting you say that because watching some of the short track stuff over the weekend and on the dirt late model side of things, their Speed Week schedule has a lot to do with how the NASCAR schedule is because the big build up to the 500, and they were talking too last night after they finished up their season, their Speed Week season, that where the 500 lands is going to have a lot to do with how their schedule works. And if you remember, they raced 3 weeks before that. The weather was god awful down there for those weeks before, so they're kind of in a situation too as to where's NASCAR going to go. Last year they tried to run some races after the 500. They failed miserably with that. They didn't get any crowds. Nobody showed up. So the whole gamut of Speed Weeks hinges on the NFL, if you can believe that.
Yeah,
sad but true.
They're number one. We got to work around them, and that's the way it works. We're very happy you're tuned in. We're going to take a break and come back.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit bonafidesafe.com.
PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need with fresh mulch arriving daily. From premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to EnviroMulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800 or visit PMFlandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years. PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
Miller Sales and Service of Random Lake is where to go for a trailer no matter what you're hauling. Tom and Jerry Miller have been selling trailers from B&B, Trophy, and Bravo for over 50 years. Quality and integrity is what put them on the map on the corner of 57 and K since 1939. Home of the number 89 dirt and asphalt cars of Brad Miller. That's Miller Sales and Service. It's where to go for a trailer just 20 minutes north of Milwaukee. Call them 920-994-4358.
Lot all of them. York with a shot, he scores! The Milwaukee Admirals head north of the border to take on the Manitoba Moose on Sunday. Circle Bellows from the dot to the right circle. The pass kept free and they score! Andre Pavel! Face off at 2 o'clock. Pregame at 1:30 on Fox Sports 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
It almost seems to me ironic that this is the same listening audience on the internet that heard our longtime listener and caller, Paul from Racine, a couple of weeks ago when I was pontificating on the addition to Helio Castroneves to the Daytona 500 lineup and saying it was going to be lucky if the guy was even going to finish the race. He's not going to have a good race, blah, blah, blah. And our friend Paul from Racine called on the Hangover show and actually bet me $100 that he was going to finish in the top 15. And I not only did I accept the bet, but I spent the money immediately because obviously this is going to be the easiest 100 I've ever made in my life. Well, just to prove that I may be onto something there, we've had the opportunity to watch Helio Castroneves. Well, I was going to say race. Let's call it crash, because he certainly has worked that portion of the program out. He crashed in the the twin qualifier, but of course got in on a other sport provisional for champion or something they made up that didn't include Jimmy Johnson, which is also kind of odd. But so your bottom three starters in this race: Martin Truex, former champion; Jimmy Johnson, former 7-time champion; and Helio Castroneves, 4-time Indianapolis 500 champion. Then Helio, just to hone his craft in a stock car, got to race in what could possibly be referred to as the worst race ever run yesterday when the aforementioned ARCA series took the track in the annual Human Sacrifice 200, where it was absolutely hard to watch. It was on the CW, which, by the way, we're having...
No, ARCA was on Fox.
Oh, no, ARCA was on Fox, and the other
on the
one
big
was on
network, Fox.
Yeah. Which made it even worse. They had to come up with so many things. The best...
Where did Helio finish in that race, Todd, by the way?
He was 5th place.
Yeah.
So that must mean... Well, we can assume one of a couple of things. One, they're good at fixing his car because he was involved in... I think 3 crashes, but it might have been 4. So you say to yourself, well, this guy is so talented that he actually came back and finished 5th. Yeah, I suppose that's one way to look at it. fifth place in the ARCA race with half of the cars in the garage. That's some kind of accomplishment right there. But this car, Dan, is the same car that he wrecked the other night because they didn't have a backup car for Castroneves when he crashed in the twin qualifier, right?
Well, they had 2 backup cars, but one went to Shane Van Gisbergen, the other one went to Daniel Suarez. So they're already used. They have no backup cars for anybody. So, yeah, this is a car that was wrecked on Thursday. It's pretty much kind of cobbled together with parts and pieces from other cars that were, still salvageable from their wrecks. So I'm not sure how good of a piece it's going to be that way. And just from watching Helio down here and just, paying attention to team communications and all that, I was on Brian's side to begin with. I'm more going to your side now after watching this. I don't think it's all there. It takes such a team effort to make this done. And I'm not saying he's a terrible driver. I'm just saying I don't think he understands the environment yet or fits in as well with the team to make this happen. Unless everybody wrecks in turn 1, and he finishes 10th, I'm going to be on your side this week.
Listen, I like the guy. Everybody likes Helio Castroneves. It's kind of hard not to like him. And it's fun to follow along with his let's try and drive a stock car in the biggest stock car race there is for my first race. That's all great stories. He's a lovable guy. Let's face it. And a hell of a dancer. But really, can we think he's got enough to finish in the top 15? PJ, you're the one that tried to put me back on the cliff again, on the ledge to jump because you think he's actually going to have a chance.
Well, again, he doesn't have to win for you to lose. He just needs to finish 15th.
Top 15, right?
Right.
And you remember races over the years. Look at the list of people who've won this over the last couple of years.
Derek freaking Cope.
Ricky Stenhouse. Austin Dillon.
Trevor
Austin
Bain.
Cindric in his first race.
Yeah.
So you never know what's going to happen.
And if 15th is all he has to do.
Right.
And there's a bunch of wrecks that he manages to avoid. I don't know.
Over the last couple of years, haven't we sat in the stands for this race and counted less than 20 cars on the track at the end of this thing? Right?
Y'all should be lawyers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, as Trickle would say, right, there's a lot of nutrition in this race.
Yeah, it's just a matter of hanging out, and we'll see if he can hang out.
Castroneves not only wrecked the car in the twin qualifier and a couple of 3-4 times in the ARCA race, he wrecked his car after the checkered flag yesterday.
Well, that was not his fault, Todd.
Well, of course, none of them were his fault.
Well,
when you get reared from behind.
Anybody with eyes that can use them could see that he was just slowing down, and the guy behind him
didn't
have
a
radio
checkered
working.
flag had already flown.
I got one name for you that came the best thing that came out of yesterday's ARCA race. His real name is Garrett Mitchell, not to be confused with the center fielder from the Milwaukee Brewers. Cletus McFarland, who has made all his money by being an internet sensation, was the best interview we've had all week long. Mm-hmm. He was so good, and that race was so bad that they brought him up to assist the Fox folks up in the tower just because he was...
He has a huge following. He had a camera live streaming during the race in his car. 40,000 plus people were watching that live stream. So
this guy makes when PJ and I were at the Freedom Factory race, you remember that? Yep. That was in Thanksgiving weekend. This guy, it was the owner of that. He's 29 years old. He paid $2.2 million for the track, and from what I have been able to figure out, which means it may or may not be true, all of his money comes from being a social media influencer.
Hey, Todd, your betting partner is on the line.
Oh, well, we're not going to be able to talk to him, thank God, because it's time for a break, and then we come back with results. So I don't have to listen to this.
Come on.
He's going to send me a check, and that's going to work. I'll send you my address. We're going to take a break and come back with results. Thanks for tuning in to our annual Daytona show. We'll be right back.
PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need with fresh mulch arriving daily. From premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to EnviroMulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800 or visit pmflandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years. PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
Miller Sales and Service of Random Lake is where to go for a trailer no matter what you're hauling. Tom and Jerry Miller have been selling trailers from B&B, Trophy, and Bravo for over 50 years. Quality and integrity is what put them on the map on the corner of 57 and K since 1939. Home of the number 89 dirt and asphalt cars of Brad Miller. That's Miller Sales and Service. It's where to go for a trailer just 20 minutes north of Milwaukee. Call them 920-994-4358.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit bonafidesafe.com.
Recently, we lost Bob Uecker, but Bob's legacy lives on. Bob Uecker's impact on Milwaukee and Wisconsin exceeds anything that happened on a baseball diamond or in a broadcast booth. One such thing is the Bob Uecker Endowed Chair in Pancreatic Cancer Research at the Medical College of Wisconsin. This chair was established by Bob and is supported by many others in our community with the goal of fighting the devastating disease of pancreatic cancer. To all involved, thank you. This message of gratitude is presented by the Medical College of Wisconsin and WISN Radio.
And now the LTN Hour presents Dirt on the Dirt with Brian Schmidt.
The final week of Speed Weeks 2025. This week, the late models and the USAC National Sprint Cars taking center stage. We'll start Monday night at Volusia Speedway Park in Barberville, Florida. The Dirt Car UMP sanction of the late models, $7,000 to win. Nick Hoffman was your winner in the fog. The fog was rolling in big time Monday night. If you watched that race, it was very eerie looking. They just hurried it along, and all of a sudden the backstretch would start to disappear, so they had to pan to the camera on the backstretch to get it. So it was pretty eerie. But Nick Hoffman got the win. The USAC National Sprint Cars, Kyle Cummins was your winner. They did the same thing again Tuesday night. Another $7,000 win for the UMP late models. Ricky Thornton Jr. continued his stellar Speed Weeks, picking up yet another feature win. And in the USAC AMSAIL National Sprint Cars, it was Logan Seavey. Wednesday night, the Sprint Cars moved out and the big block modifieds moved in. The Sprint Cars headed over to Ocala, Florida, where they started their four-race swing. Justin Grant grabbed the feature win there. Back at Volusia, they ran three $5,000 to win UMP late model features for the entire field of 61 cars that were there. Those feature winners were Ricky Thornton Jr., Jonathan Davenport, and Brandon Overton. The Super Dirt Car Series Big Block Modifieds, Matt Shepard was your winner. Thursday night, back at Ocala for the USAC National Sprint Cars, Brady Bacon was your winner. In Barberville, Florida, the World of Outlaw Late Model Series took over the sanctioning for that race. $12,000 to win. Garrett Alberson, his second feature win of the season at Volusia, picking up the win. He won one earlier in the Sunshine Nationals back in January. For the Super Dirt Car Series Big Block Modifieds, Alec Yankowski was your winner. Friday night at Ocala, the USAC AMSAIL National Sprint Cars, Kyle Cummins picked up the feature win again. At Volusia, another $12,000 to win for the World of Outlaw late models. Devin Moran drove from 8th to the win that was a slobber knocker of a race for the late models if you've ever seen one. You had Jonathan Davenport and Bobby Pierce going at it. Lots of carnage in that race, but Devin Moran emerged as the victor. In the Super Dirt Car Series Big Block Modifieds, Peter Britton was your winner. And they wrapped it up last night at Ocala, the final night for the USAC Sprint Cars. Jason Persley was your winner. And the final night at Volusia, $20,000 to win for the World of Outlaw late models. Jonathan Davenport drove from 12th to the win. Pretty entertaining feature at the end. Him and I'm trying to think who was the 22 car were side by side for lap after lap after lap. The rubber was kind of on the Drake Troutman was in the 22 car on the bottom and Davenport on the top, and it was starting to take rubber on the bottom of the track. And we thought there's no way you're going to make that work, but Davenport cowboyed up and got around him with a handful of laps to go and drove off to the win. He did not, however, win the Big Gator for the week. That went to Ricky Thornton Jr. with his solid week he had. In the final event of the week, the 50-lap Supercar Series Big Block Modifieds, Eric Rudolph grabbed the win there. And that is everything. The late models are going to take a couple weeks off now before they try to get back at it if the weather cooperates in mid-March.
All right. On to the asphalt, the World Series of Asphalt at New Smyrna Speedway. Picking up from last Sunday, the Super Late Model winner for that 35-lapper was Corey Hall. Pro Late Models was Hunter Wright, and the Florida Modifieds, it was Cody Stickler, and the 602 Modifieds was Nicholas Hovey. Monday, Pro Late Model winner Max Reeves, the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour, Austin Beers, Florida Modifieds, Tim Moore, and the 602 Modifieds, Max Handley. On Tuesday night, it was the ASA Stars Tour Slobber Knocker 200. Gavin Boschel came out on top as the winner. William Sawalich, Corey Hall, George Phillips, and Stephen Nassy rounded out the top 5 of those who were still running. Notables were Christopher Bell, 6th, Gabe Summers, 7th, Bubba Pollard, 9th, Derek Kraus, 12th, Austin Nason, 13th, Ty Majeski, 25th, Paul Schaefer Jr., 26th, and Ty Fredrickson, 29th.
Wait a minute. Wasn't Ty leading that race?
He was, as a matter of fact. He got tangled up, we'll just say.
He got knocked in the slobber knocker?
He got knocked in the slobber knocker. The NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour winner was Patrick Emmerling. That's that Bobby Dotter car. Florida Modifieds winner was Chuck Barnes on Tuesday night. On to Wednesday, the Super Late Model winner was Carson Brown, teammate to another slobber knocker. Pro Late Model winner was Hunter Wright, Randy Sargent notably, 20th. NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour winner on Wednesday was Patrick Emmerling again. The 602 Modifieds winner was Nicholas Hovey. On Thursday, the Super Late Models back for the Orange Blossom Special 100. 16 cars entered because there was so much carnage the other night.
Ugh.
Your winner was Gavin Boschel. He was also the overall World Series of Asphalt Super Late Model champion. Notables were Gabe Summers, got onto the podium with a third-place finish, and Ty Fredrickson finishing 5th, Derek Kraus 6th, and Bobby Kendall 11th. Pro Late Model winner was Brody Monahan. The overall World Series of Asphalt Pro Late Model champ was Hunter Wright. The NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour winner was Patrick Emmerling again. And then the 602 Modifieds winner was Nicholas Hovey. And then Friday night, the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour had their Richie Evans Memorial 100. The winner, Matt Hirschman. And the overall winner for the NASCAR Wheel and Modifieds champion for the World Series of Asphalt was Patrick Emmerling in that Bobby Dotter car. And that's all we got for the pavement.
We mentioned there has been some racing at that other track in town. The Twins were won by Austin Cindric and Bubba Wallace on Thursday. Truck Series raced on Friday night. I don't care what you tell me. Parker Kligerman won that damn race. Of course, he got DQ'd afterwards because the back end of the truck was too low. Corey Heim got that kind of a...
And that's going to be...
Where you didn't really get pictures and all that. You just get a trophy, you know.
And Parker said it on yesterday on the pre-race for the CW race. He's one of the commentators for the Xfinity Series that he thinks they have a very good case because it'll be appealed on Tuesday. And if you really think about how that whole thing works there, those trucks, they had no practice because it rained out on Thursday. Mm-hmm. All they did is roll them out and qualify them on Friday. And at Daytona, they qualify them. They go through tech. They qualify them. So they're out on pit road for qualifying. They run their qualifying laps. And immediately after that, they get impounded behind Victory Lane. Like nobody can be by them. There's a big fence between the fans and the crew and everybody. And they sit there until they push them out onto the track. So I think his case is going to be what happened from the time we were teched to the time we raced.
Well, by the way, speaking of the trucks, Ty Majeski finished 3rd in that one. Johnny Sauter had a pretty interesting race. He found himself going back and forth from the front to the back a couple of 3-4 times and got involved. He was right up towards the front going into turn 3 of the last lap when he got involved with another truck, sent him down into the infield, and he managed to not crash it. He went all the way down and nursed the thing back onto the racetrack. I think he finished 17th, which it wasn't a bad day considering
16th after the DQ, yeah.
16th after the DQ. There you have it. And then in the ARCA race, Butterbean Queen wins what could be the worst race ever run. Elio Castroneves was fifth in that one, just to prove that he does have a shot to win the Daytona 500 today. We got to see some of the best and some of the worst. You had a television team that had to talk and talk and talk, and it was so bad that they finally brought old Cletus McFarland up to the tower to help them out. We learned some names like Amber Balkan. What a driver. First of all, she has very nice makeup, I have to admit. She, of all the drivers that I saw, her makeup was the best. But my God, I wouldn't want to be racing next to her very often. Brian, you actually know, or you did know, you raced against his dad? Or her
Yeah,
dad?
she's been around a while. This is probably her fourth season in ARCA, I would say. Her dad, Mike Balkan, ran Wissota late models for many years. When we ran the Wissota Challenge Series in the early 2000s, we saw him quite a bit, and Dan and I talked to him on pit road a couple years ago before the ARCA race. So, I mean, she raises all that money on her own. That is not a money pit. Her dad says, I put no money into that car at all. She goes and finds her own sponsors. She's a very accomplished sprint car driver from the North Dakota area. They're from Canada, but she'd come into the United States to race. So she's just been on the struggle bus big time in ARCA, and ARCA's difficult. That's difficult, you know. It's really hard to say who is and who isn't any good when you watch an ARCA race, because they just ball each other all up all the time.
Fact right there. From Canada, our 51st state. We'll be right back.
Miller Sales and Service of Random Lake is where to go for a trailer, no matter what you're hauling. Tom and Jerry Miller have been selling trailers from B&B, Trophy, and Bravo for over 50 years. Quality and integrity is what put them on the map on the corner of 57 and K since 1939. Home of the number 89 dirt and asphalt cars of Brad Miller. That's Miller Sales and Service. It's where to go for a trailer, just 20 minutes north of Milwaukee. Call them 920-994-4358.
From racing engines to street engines, long blocks to turnkey packages, or complete custom engines, just ask and Wagner Automotive can fill your needs. All backed by many years of racing experience. These years of experience have provided reliability and performance that customers need to win races. Wagner's has been building championship-winning engines for top teams from NASCAR to short tracks in your backyard. This expertise has carried over to street engines they supply to top custom car builders. The Wagner Company, in the heart of Wisconsin, is outfitted with the state-of-the-art machinery necessary to design, manufacture, build, and test custom engines and their accessory parts. Dyno services are independently available for anyone needed to test their engine. Wagner's Company can also provide you or your company with production CNC machining or welding services. All your questions and requests are handled personally by Casey Wagner. Just give us a call at 920-394-3557 or visit our website at WagnerAutomotive.com.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit bonafidesafe.com.
The new episode of the Larrivee and LePay podcast is available to listen to right now. Wayne and Matt's guest is Rick Goslin, longtime writer covering the NFL. Remember, every episode of the Larrivee and LePay podcast is available anytime on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Presented by UW Credit Union. Here for every you.
I neglected to give the Xfinity race result from yesterday. Jesse Love, former Slinger Speedway feature winner Jesse Love, won his first race at Daytona. But it was a pretty damn good race for other folks with ties to the state. Sam Mayer, in his first race in that 41 car for that Haas team, was second. The Quapple kid did pretty darn good, finishing fourth. Josh Balicki had a real good race going when he got clobbered from behind by a guy that completely lost his brains entering the pits. Took Josh out, and Josh managed to come back and finish 14th. Good for him. Parker Retzlaff also was there. He was 29th.
you got to wonder if Balicki's car's got kick me on the back of it, because every time he comes, it seems to get run into from behind like that.
Yeah, no kidding. Dan, did you have a couple of things you wanted to tease us with here?
Well, I think you just keep in mind as we go on here, the schedule, runs out, and some of the races. That Mexico race on the schedule is probably the biggest, most anticipated race so far this year. Now, there's a lot of logistical challenges with that, and they're starting to address those now, those logistical challenges. I do think some contingency plans are in the works in case those challenges get to be a little too hard to overcome. So we'll see. I mean, right now they're working on putting it together, but I think it wouldn't surprise me to maybe see another race here in Daytona this year.
An extra race in Daytona. Okay, that's interesting. This doesn't have anything to do with all those troops that are suddenly formed up on the border, is it? I don't know. Does that make sense? Probably not.
Now, I know there's a lot of stuff going on and a lot of issues that way they got to deal with. It was going to be a challenge logistically anyways to get the cars there. And so obviously you got to pay attention to what's going on there and the kind of situations that are arising there. We'll see. I mean, they're starting to work them out now. Maybe they'll get everything figured out, but I do think there's some backup plans in place.
Interesting. Oh, completely interesting. Hey, Castroneves isn't doing that bad already. He's going to have 8 cars starting the race behind him. The 5, 48, 99, 88, 7, 6, 35, and 54 all had to go to backup cars because, after all, a 150-mile qualifier race is too much to ask for these guys to have these primary cars make it through and actually make it to the 500. So that's how that goes. All right, we're at the point where we make our picks for this. I would say that if it's not, we don't all have to take somebody different. If you agree with one of our picks, go ahead and say it, and we'll go. I'm going to get right out there. It's going to be the 23 car. Bubba Wallace is going to take Michael Jordan and headline Hamlin, and he's going to talk. They're going to talk lawsuits in victory lane. It's just a beautiful thing. That's where we're headed. And yes, I did put money where my mouth is. I think I'll go to Dan next. What do you got, Dano?
All right, well, I'm going to go his teammate, Tyler Reddick. I think the Toyotas work real well together. There's more of them in this race than there's ever been before. With Truex and Johnson now, there's 11 Toyotas. They've never had that much. They do a real good job of working together. Fords do as well, but the Toyotas seem fast all week. I'm going to go with Tyler Reddick.
Brian.
I'm going to go with the outside front row sitter. He's going to win his second Daytona 500, and it's going to be Austin Cindric. Inexplicable as to why, but it's just one of those things where those guys find a way to win that, and those Penske Fords are very strong.
All right, PJ's going to actually give us 2 picks today, not only for herself, but for that other guy in the family, Toby.
Toby wants to go with Chris Buescher. Uh-huh. I know you're all shocked to hear that. And I'm taking Ryan Blaney. I know you're shocked to hear that, too. He's also my pick to win the championship again this year.
Wow.
Interesting.
All right. Penske 3 in a row. Holy cow.
There's one honest-to-God expert amongst us, and he's now going to tell us who's going to win the Daytona 500.
Oh, my gosh. I'm less qualified to do this than I am to offer legal advice. Let's be honest here. Yeah, I mean, every pick I've heard, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can believe that. That makes perfect sense. So I'm going to go with Eric Jones.
That'd be cool. Todd would be really happy. He'd probably take you out for dinner.
Yes.
I think I'm on the hook for tomorrow anyway. But no, it's one of those sentimental things, too. You'd like to see him kind of get rewarded. Yeah, he got shafted the other night. So karma, baby.
I love it.
Yeah, I do, too. At 50-1, you're damn right. I like that pick. Let's go. There's a Toyota I can root for. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in for this annual Daytona 500 episode of the program. My thanks to the award-winning journalist Dave Kallman for joining us in studio here today, and for everybody else for tuning in. And as I like you to remember, real race cars have doors, even if they do climb in through the windows. Let's Talk NASCAR is produced and directed by Dangerous Dan Margetta. Our engineer is Matt Losey. For all of us involved with the program, we appreciate you taking a little time out of your Sunday and joining us. And we'll see you next week, everybody.
This program has come to you live from multiple locations via Skype. Any and all comments expressed on this show do not necessarily express the opinions of this station, its employees, or advertisers. Your comments are always welcome at mail@ltnradionetwork.com. Find us at facebook.com/LTN Radio Network. And thank you for your support since 1985. Tune in again next Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Central Time for the LTN Hour on the LTN Radio Network.